the hook rates were like insane. It was like 40, like 45, like 50%. And like it converted really, really well. And that was honestly like a huge gamble for us. I find that this is probably the hardest and most boring and like least sexy thing that like people want to do is like do the research and like you'll figure it out.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Drag and Drop podcast by Creatopy. Today, I'm with Dara Denney, and we will discuss about UGC ads that convert in 2023. She made an awesome video about that, so I'm recommending check her YouTube channel. But what's very interesting about these UGC ads that Dara is discussing about is that each of these ads have something really specific, and they are not just like a general ad like, hey, create an educational content or create, I don't know, a review testimonial ad. You pointed out very interesting because for example, the UGC, the educational content, they start and maybe they never ever mention the brand. Is this something that you saw that the educational UGC content are getting more and more tractions because they don't mention the brand?
Yeah, so I'd say the general trend for UGC the last few years has been very problem solution oriented or testimonial based. So a creator will give their quote unquote authentic testimonial about a product or service. And generally they'll start with a problem they have that the product or service is solving. And recently, it's been interesting. I've been noticing a lot more tutorial-based content, how-to content, or even just like listicle style education content. So I see the UGC trend, especially what's converting on TikTok ads and Facebook ads, to be trending more towards educational content, which I think is really interesting because it's definitely more of a content-first approach as opposed to a product-first approach or a direct response approach. And you're right. In some of the brands that I've worked with, the product or brand is not even mentioned in the advertisement, which is the definition of being content first and really letting, the educational content hook the users, engage the users, and then letting the landing page or website convert them on the back end. So it's been really interesting to see that shift lately. And I'm kind of excited for it for our industry particularly because I think it's really opening up the opportunity for us to think more like creators and think about what kind of content would work more organically as opposed to this direct style like UGC sort of content that we've been pumping out ad nauseum lately.
You said something about that. It's not a hard selling type of ad. It's just like you do an educational type of content without selling hard the product that you are presenting.
Yeah, and that's essentially like what I see direct response to be is like it goes for the hard sell whether or not the user is aware of it. And in this case, the selling is sort of like on the back burner. And I feel like it sheds a lot of like the direct like the like initial direct response style types of like tactics that we're used to seeing to get people to convert. And this is like, again, selling much more organically, I'd say.
The second one was about the how to. And when I'm reading articles about how to create UGC ads, everybody's talking about don't forget to do the how to, the tutorial based type of ads. But nobody, it's like getting more in depth. Like when you start with the question, what kind of question? You do the how to do something like that, or 3 tips, or 5 tips, or 6 tips. I don't know. Do you have any specific idea on how to create that how to UGC ads that can convert better in 2023?
Yeah, I see it a lot with the beauty industry where it's like how to do like a certain makeup routine or how to do your makeup for 50 plus skin, how to do your makeup in under 5 minutes. These sort of like how-to tutorial-based content, like that's the kind of content that people are already going to be watching and ingesting like on TikTok organically. So it's kind of just going in the vein of like what type of education your users actually want. In terms of like listicle-based content, which is another format that you can use, I like to think of it as like a Buzzfeed listicle almost. Like 6 money tips that you have to saving like 100K in like 1 year or something like that. And you know, the way that you have to figure out like what type of content is going to be best for your audience is really about doing that initial creative strategy research. I find that this is probably the hardest and most boring and like least sexy thing that like people want to do is like do the research and like you'll figure it out. Mine like the testimonials, mine like the customer reviews, and like you'll figure out what's making them tick and like what those trigger actions are and like what they're confused by. But like, I don't know, our industry is just like they love quick wins. They love formats. I've found that like a lot of people are still struggling to like really dive deep on like those like that customer research, but that's like where the gold nuggets are.
So you said that do you, about the BuzzFeed idea. That was very interesting. Can we use BuzzFeed as a research to do these headlines and copy that headlines and use them maybe personalized for these kind of ads?
Yeah, I mean, I would do I would also do research on like the type of publications that your users are actually like reading. Like, are they reading BuzzFeed? Are they reading Pop Sugar? Are they reading like the New York Times? Are they reading Fox News? Like, who knows? Like, take a look at some of like the top headlines over the last like 3 to 6 months, and maybe format like your how-to educational style content after the type of content they're already consuming and would click on.
That's a great tip. The next one was about the review and testimonial, but you've done like a different angle of presentation because you said that these are the kind of ads that more how like they are a call out to the target demo. It's not like
Mm-hmm.
a review social proof that we are already familiar. It's more like, hey, it's a target for that kind of person that needs to do that. So,
Yeah. So, like, an example of this would be like if we're going to stay with the beauty industry, right? Like, how to do your makeup. Like, for me, it'd be like, how to do your makeup, like, with someone who has no time and is like balancing a full time job with like doing creator stuff. Like, you can get really elaborate and really deep, or like an easy one that I had mentioned before, which also slides into the slot, is like how to do makeup for 50 plus skin. Like, you have to like kind of call out your target audience to like get that framework. I consider this to be like a really easy hack to implement on like even UGC that you already have, because the reason why I think it works is because like the Facebook algorithm is like largely automated, broad audiences, yada yada, like targeting is dead. But like Facebook takes like into account like the people that are in your videos and like the text that is on your videos to like accurately deliver to people. So if you're already putting those cues, especially in the hook, not only is like the audience going to self-select, but the algorithm is also going to like select people based on like the content that's in your video. So it's going to deliver to them. So like I've been seeing a lot of success by like doing that, particularly in the hook.
mm. The next one was about the storytelling. And I really love that because you change the idea on it's not on storytelling, it's more like a intimate personal storytelling. And the UGC creators are not using the storytelling the general marketers are used to that we learn in our marketing school and marketing college. It's about the way that the storytelling is evolving from the general storytelling to a more personal storytelling, and we can see that in UGC ads. So can you give us more in-depth ideas and insights about that?
Yeah. So this idea of like personal history or personal storytelling is something that I've seen really be powerful for like supplement brands, again, beauty brands, like lots of D2C brands. And it's really about like thinking about if your brand is like able to like position someone to have a really impactful personal transformation. I also work with a personal training certification platform, and we found that like one of the most popular or one of the most like best performing ads that we created for them was actually around this idea of like body positivity, and we partnered with
Mm.
influencers to who maybe don't look like the typical like fitness influencer and like had an alternative like relationship and pathway to becoming a personal trainer. And we found that like people actually really related to it to a lot. And in the hooks of one of the videos, like the influencer actually says like, I don't look like your typical like physical fitness like influencer person.
Mm.
And the hook rates were like insane. It was like 40, like 45, like 50%. And like it converted really, really well. And that was honestly like a huge gamble for us because like TikTok is brutal with the comments, number one. And also the physical fitness industry and like fitness and wellness in general on TikTok, like people are cruel. And like
Mm.
we had to like really prep ourselves to like number one, like work with the right influencers that like we think could like communicate like the idea that we wanted. But we also had to like prep them for like potential like negative comments and backlash, which like they're already predisposed to because we only worked with other TikTok creators because like we didn't want to like introduce someone to like some like new idea of like internet trolls or whatever. But like, yeah, I've seen this for a while actually. Like even when I look back at some of the top performing like ads that we've created for some brands, like a lot of times it like starts with an I statement and starts with a personal story, and like people really connect with that, and I think it just signals that it's not an ad.
And that's interesting because the personal story idea and insights, it's just a guess of mine, is that while people are searching and they are scrolling through TikTok and through Instagram and through Facebook, and they see these ads, they are staying in a more personal moment. It's my personal time when I'm scrolling my phone. And when I see like a personal story, even if it's how you said, the more cringe, the more better, I can relate it to it. So, and that's why I believe that like you're right with the personal storytelling because it's more personal and it's talking
Yeah,
directly to the one that it's consuming it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So the last one was about the one and only the problem solution, like the general problem
Yeah.
solution. But you said something very interesting because we saw lately with the green screen ideas. So
Mm-hmm.
give me more insights about that. How the problem versus problem solution UGC ad it's getting more traction if you use that green screen strategy.
Yeah, so like the problem solution ad to me is just like the quintessential like OG like UGC ad. You introduce a problem, you agitate the problem, you introduce the product or service as a solution to that problem, you give benefits and testimonials, and then you close out with a CTA. At like a bare bones, like that is what a UGC ad should look like. That's going to convert. And what I've noticed, like with this format particularly, like there are two ways that you can still like really make that work effectively, especially if you don't have like I don't know the best content or like your creators aren't creating like super like engaging hooks. Is like you can use a green screen. Like people that still signals to a lot of people that that's organic, and I think that depending how you utilize that green screen, like you could put some like you could put the background as like a press hit, which is like another tactic that we know. You could do something a little bit more like oddly satisfying, like using like a drip or like Play-Doh or something that's just like catchy and eye grabbing. Or you can use like a TikTok response bubble, which is like a tactic
Mm.
that we use a lot to like answer common questions that people have or frequently asked questions. It's also a really good way to like I like if you notice that a lot of people have the same objection, like maybe it's price, maybe it's like your offer, that's like a really good way to like handle those objections is like using like a
Mm.
TikTok response bubble. So if we're doing like a traditional style like problem solution ad, like we'll try pairing it with a green screen or like a TikTok response bubble to increase like hook rates and conversion rates.
I believe that in the near future we will see this kind of responding bubble comment on Instagram too, because now we already see the
Yeah.
Instagram verification feature, and now everybody is copying everybody. So that will be very interesting to see, even
Yeah.
in the meta system. So between all of these five UGC ads, which one is your favorite and why?
So my favorite one as like a marketer or someone running these ads is gonna be like the educational one or like the listicle style one, because I think it's like organic content. And like if you can get traction out of like content that is essentially organic, I believe that like reinvests in your brand equity, to be honest. Like I think like long term, like if you don't do the hard sell and you're not doing all of these like cringy like D2C like performance marketing practices, like I think users actually enjoy that in the long run. And I also think that like brands who do more education are more sustainable. So if they invest in doing educational content like on YouTube, on whatever, like they're just going to be the ones that win. But my favorite like content to create as a creator, because I also do lots of content and like I sometimes do content for brands as well, is the personal storytelling. I've also noticed that like when I like hire creators to do this personal storytelling type of content, this is the content that often like looks and feels the most authentic, because like they have to tell their own story. So
Mhm.
they're not like reading from some script that's been like rehearsed and reused over several creators. So like I tend to
Mm.
just get more authentic content back from them.
Okay. Okay, got it. There, thank you very much. That was
Of
awesome.
course.
And I believe that you gave the entire context. Now people can use these ideas and just start using these examples of UGC ads that can convert for 2023. So there are, again, thank you very much. And people, if they want to subscribe your channel, they will find the link in the description below. And I believe that was our short episode of the Drag and Drop, where you learn how to create, how to use the new type of UGC ads that converts. Dara, again, thank you very much. You were
Thank
awesome.
you. Thanks.